is that. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so if we can maybe take a look at the first slide then, Chris.
That'll be up.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, so the Young Ambassador Program is something that the St. Patrick's Centre started this was our 16th year, and the idea was originally we started to create our own Friends of St. Patrick organization, and one of the things that I really wanted to do was to make sure that there's many people who are older who are interested in Ireland. I think the older you get, the more interested sometimes you become in your genealogy. But I wanted to make sure that young people were also involved because they are the future. And at the St. Patrick's Centre, of course, we do so much education, and we're in an educational college here, so it is a privilege to be able to pass on your knowledge and your information to young people. But strategically, what I was really trying to do was to make sure that young people were informed about our particular part of Ireland. It's complicated, if there was, if we were online dating and we're talking about Northern Ireland, we'd have to put the tag, it's complicated, our relationship is complicated. And it is complicated, and to understand it, you need to be there, you need to meet all the players and all the actors to be able to understand what's going on. So if we can go through the slide, the first slide is a slide of the young ambassadors at a place called Ballino Stone Circle, which is something that's older than the pyramids. And that was one of the cultural excursions that we got. So basically, we do the best part of 2 weeks. So this time is for 2024, it will start on the 1st of June. They will fly out the evening before. They will be collected by someone in a bus. I'm the someone in the bus. We hire a 16-seater. Now, in the past, we've done it and we've had all sorts of great experiences. We get to meet lots of interesting people, including the President of Ireland in the past. But we tell people that it is a life-changing experience. That's an easy thing to say, it's a life-changing experience. But actually, this literally is a life-changing experience. I realized after the second time that we did it, that I had to start telling the parents of the young people who were coming that they may not come back again. And it was true because people came over, they fell in love with the place, they fell in love with the people. We now have got several young ambassador families where people have come over, literally met other people in Ireland, and often they do eventually come back to America, or they come and study with us as well. They come and study at Queen's or the University of Ulster. So quite a few of them, particularly the original ones, are still there. That's how much of an impact it's had in their life. So if we flick on, so for those who don't know, this is the St. Patrick's Centre. As I talked quite a bit about it yesterday, it was created after the Good Friday Agreement. It's one of the projects to bring the tourist economy to the northern part of Ireland and to really build on the peace by bringing the tourist economy to our part of the world. Okay, we'll just keep flicking through these. And for those of you who don't know, we are in the northeastern part of Ireland, right beside St. Patrick's Grave and the medieval Cathedral of Down. The little church on the bottom left-hand side is Saul Church, where St. Patrick, when he brought Christianity to Ireland. And here's something that we really do need to think about. In 2032, we will be celebrating the 1600th anniversary of Patrick coming to Ireland. And we need to start thinking about that now and how we're going to celebrate it. 1600 years. When we had the 1500th anniversary, it was a huge event. I wasn't there myself. And someone, my lady Birdie said yesterday, now you have to tell them that St. Patrick brought Christianity to Ireland in 432. And I always say to people, well, I'm never very good with dates. If we'd have come in 321, that would have been easier to remember. And then we had a priest with us last year, and he brought a group, and he said, yes, Tim, but think of it this way. In 432, he brought the one. And that is good. I'm going to use that. So it's my gift to you today. In 432, he brought the one. That's how you remember when Patrick brought Christianity to Ireland. Okay, we'll keep looking, Chris. Thank you. So when the young ambassadors come, they are collected at the airport. They come up and stay in Newcastle, which is where the mountains of Mourne famously sweep down to the sea. It's a little seaside town in County Down, and it's absolutely beautiful. Flick on to the next one. This is the row of houses that they stay in, and look at the mountains just behind. It's absolutely amazing. Okay, we'll keep going. So because there were so many of them this year, we had them in 3 different self-catering accommodation houses. And these are, just to give you an idea, we had 9 young people this year, now from the Ancient Order of Hibernians, and 3 from our own chapters, 1 from Toronto, 1 from Milwaukee, and 1 from Phoenix. The 2 ladies were part of our delegation. And yeah, I was completely blown away when it was agreed that Danny said, we're going to send you 9. I said, I'm going to have to get a bigger bus. I did 3,500 miles over 2 weeks in the bus, and we did a lot of traveling. Now, part of the rationale for this is not to give somebody a holiday and they're going to disappear into the ether. That's not what it's about. It is about to choose the best and the brightest young people who are going to be the future of the organization, so that you can empower them at a time in their life whenever they are soaking everything up. And we give them an experience that starts their life in a particular way. And then they're going to come back, and for the rest of their days, they are imparting that knowledge. They become experts because they have met all of the main people and they have been the feet on the ground. So the idea is that these people should be coming back to be leaders in their own communities, in their own organizations, in this case, with the Ancient Order. I have to tell you that the people that you chose this year to send over blew me away. Absolutely extraordinary. Some of them were able to, and I'll show you this in a second, they were able to get onto their feet and capture an audience. At one stage, Brendan, we were talking about Brendan earlier, from New York State, he was able to stand up en masse and talk for about 15 minutes about their experiences. It was just amazing. They were an absolute credit to you. This is a photograph of us at Stormont. So we went up and met all of the different political parties at Stormont. We'll keep going, Chris, thank you. There's a little bit of downtime too, team building. We did a kayak, a moonlight kayak on Strangford Loch, which ended up going to an island on the loch. It's a sea loch in County Down, and they had a barbecue. And actually we zoomed to Danny while we were there to say hello. GAA is important. We went out and learned how to, this is a place called Ballygalget, and the 2 smaller photographs there is where they went and they learned what GAA is all about the structure of the organization is about, and then they got onto the field to play. That particular one was hurling. They were very good at it too. Some of them had some experience from here. Keep going. One of the things that we do whenever they arrive is we tell them about the story of St. Patrick, obviously, but everybody also, we get everybody branded up. So whenever they're going around down Newcastle or Downpatrick, everybody knows who they are. And they look very smart. So they've got their young ambassador polo shirts. We ask them to come in khakis because there are a lot of formal events that they have to attend. This is at the site of the first, the place where the legend of the snakes was written in Shabby. Yeah. This year also, we dive into all sorts of opportunities. If you go on to the next one, yeah. Why learn about the Vikings when you can be a Viking? So we had, there's a Viking village which is local to us, and they were having a day for bringing visitors to the place. So our guys were trained up, they became Vikings for the day, and they were showing the public around and helping out. So that was them being Vikings for the day. Okay, we'll keep going. The mountains of Mourne are absolutely beautiful. June for us this year was the hottest month that we've had probably ever. And what we didn't realize was as soon as they come off the bus, I'd organized a hike for them in the mountains of Mourne. What we didn't realize was that it was going to be quite a long hike, and it was very, very hot. So that was quite, I think we'll change that experience next time, just because some of them were found it a bit tough going. But absolutely beautiful to get up into the mountains of Mourne. Okay, we'll click on. This is the kayak on the left, and that's them exploring the mountains. One of the other things that we did was, as well as meeting all the local politicians, depending on if they have a particular interest, some of them had interest in mental health, others had interest in politics. So obviously they get to be either embedded with or they meet politicians. In this particular case, we also met the PSNI, you know, to be able to hold the police force to account and to be able to ask them how they see the future as it develops in our part of the world. So to have an experience of doing that is very useful. We'll keep going. There's a little bit of, you know, doing other things as well. So this is the Carrick-a-Reed rope bridge. I'm sure some of you may have been to that. It's a suspended rope bridge about 200 feet above the sea in the north coast of Ireland. And we got to see, some of them had not, would you believe, some of them had never seen the sea before. You know, so we're going and we're seeing things that they've never seen. And then the top right-hand side is us going, we went to the races and the people at the race course were very good to us. They gave us a private box. And I said to him, like, this does not happen a lot. You know, don't expect this. I've never been in a box. I'm only in a box because you guys are here. And in the past, Down Patrick's very famous for his horse racing. In the past, we've also had young ambassadors present the prizes to the winners. Okay, we'll keep going. Education is very important. Meeting up with schools to understand the school system in our particular part of the world is important. So that's a meeting at the St. Mary's School. The top is, we were at Cultureland on the Falls Road. We had a wonderful time down there. We were treated very, very well. One of the things that we ask young ambassadors to do is to bring a rock from wherever they're coming from, whatever state they're coming from, whatever community they're coming from, write the name on it and put it into our peace garden. And every year, whenever they're there, we have a little ceremony, a peace ceremony. And this year, the local parish priest came, and as he always does, and we had a little prayer for peace, and they put their contribution, it's almost as if it's their contribution towards our part of the world. But it is a commitment. This is a commitment. It's a lifelong commitment. It's not a holiday. Flick on to the next one. And Stormont, of course, these are the young ambassadors from the Ancient Order of Hibernians in Stormont. We did ask them to do little snippets. I don't know if you saw their monologues. You know, they were so grateful to be there. They were so grateful to be there. And it was, this was in the Stormont Parliament Assembly when they got a tour around. Unfortunately, Stormont is not up and running at the minute, but we did meet many of the local politicians. Okay, we'll keep going. One of the local politicians, our own member of Parliament for Sinn Féin, is Chris Hazard. So Sinn Féin is strong in our part of the world, and they are very, very supportive of the centre. And this is Chris and one of the members of the Legislative Assembly with him, and meeting him. Okay, we'll keep going. And then Mass, but you know, it was wonderful. There's Brendan in the background now. He's talking, and they were able to introduce themselves to the local community, and people really took them to their hearts in the community, you know, whenever they were out and about. Now, I have to tell you, I left them off. I was exhausted by the time I left them off. I had to drive home. And what happened between the time I left them off and picked them up, who knows? But I think they started to get well known in the local hostelries of Newcastle as well. Okay, and we'll flick on to the next one. And this is them just having fun. You know, they had a lot of fun. That's our local parish priest. They're having a bit of fun. And some of the kids at the top, and I've got Austin there, just in the bottom right hand side there.
In the judge's seat.
In the
I wonder
judge's
if
seat.
that's Austin McKay.
That is Austin McKay. So I wanted to keep it reasonably brief. The nuts and bolts of this is that it costs, the centre firstly gets nothing out of it at all in terms of money. It is expensive to fly to Ireland. The cost of accommodation are actually going up, if anything. But the amount that it costs by the time we get the accommodation, buy the tickets, and hire the van, you're looking at about $3,000 per person. But then that is, you know, that's the entire trip. The only thing that they need to buy is as if they were coming as a student here, you know. But and again, whenever they're staying in these houses, we buy their a few days worth of food for them to get them started, and then they always start to find the rhythm. So it's inexpensive for them, but there is a cost to it. And you know, I guess you need to work out. I think personally, and I can advise you and say that I think that to try and get young people involved in your organization and to grow them, I've done it in our own organization. I'm just about to fly to Milwaukee after this, and then I'm going to go to Phoenix. And in both those places, the young ambassadors who were back 10, 15 years ago are now leading the organizations. So, you know, if you choose the right people, I really believe that it can be a huge benefit to your organization.
Thank you, Tim. We appreciate you being here.
Question, Sean, Tim, can we start the old ambassadors program?
You're not the first person to say that, actually, Sean. We did run, and it was, what do you call it? Is it the senior ambassador? That people don't want to be called seniors. Pensioners. We did actually run one at one stage.
And
Tim, I just have one question. As you say, they learn that it's not a holiday, but for all their experiences in the time, do you require or suggest that they keep journals or whatever so that they can go back?
Yeah, so what we ask them to do while they're there is to journal. In fact, what we ask them to do is to do a blog, because what we want to do is, if you've sent this person over and you spent $3,000 on them, we want you to see what they're doing when they're there. So they're blogging, they're creating video messages, they're sending that back to the people. I constantly remind them, I said, you have to do this, because the people who sent you here, you owe them, and you need to make sure that they know what you're doing. And the other thing is, I'm providing all these fabulous experiences. I want you to know what's happening, you know. But yeah, the personal reflection of it is important.
and there is a requirement, in essence, for a year following on their end. If it's from the St. Patrick's Center, there's a requirement for a year later that they are involved with promoting what they did, promoting the experience, promoting the end. Now, what we've done with our ambassadors, we've tried to get them involved, and we've invited them all to be involved, and we have several that joined the marketing committee, correct? Yes. So we've had, and we're doing we have that program that we call the McNabb scholarships for the convention, where young people come to our convention, but they don't tend to go to dinners. And so we're trying to get young leaders and bring them to the dinners because they can't afford the dinners. So they're there, and you know, they have to eat in hospitality rooms. But we've had some success with that too. You get these young people, we get them in the dinner so they see what we do for the future. And I think it's fabulous. The other thing I liked was what they do when they're in the house. They gotta buy their food, they gotta decide. And like in this year, I know the one kid kind of went out to a restaurant every day. He made book with the restaurant. He was worried about gluten.
He was gluten-free.
Gluten-free, and but they could have done it at the house, but he always went there, and they didn't really even learn. Tim did, he found out about it on the last day. But so these kids get together, they go grocery shopping in a place they've never been, and they decide what they're gonna do. And I think that's one of the greatest things. And we had two brothers go, which probably won't ever happen again, because we ended up sending the 9 people who applied this year. And as we get more applications, we're gonna separate from where they are. You know, we won't take, if we do 9, we won't take 2 from the same division unless we only have 9 or less applications. And with the promotion, publicity of this, the people are already reaching out to me asking, how do we get more involved with it? What do we do? Then the other thing that was cool was the local divisions in the local counties for each of these ambassadors raised a few dollars for them to give them, to put them in the pocket. Now, we're all, except for maybe Chris and a couple others, like old school. We're older, you know, and you pay a little bit for whatever it means more to you. But the kids, we had to debrief, and listening to these, I say kids, but these young men and women talk and what they came up with on the debrief. And they said, really, you probably need about $1,500 when you go over, when you do so you can do what you want, when you want. A lot of them stayed, went to Dublin, things like that. So that part of the learning experience is second to none. And I know a lot of the guys in here have been to Ireland at a young age, but a lot of us haven't. And I for one could tell you, it changed my life when I started going to Ireland on a regular basis. And I can't imagine if I'd have gone there when I was in college. And so the other thing they came up with is as we select ambassadors in the future as a whole, we would make sure it was somebody that was 1 year out of high school. And the students said, the young people said they thought someone fresh out of high school just wouldn't have that maturity level. And it's not, and I keep saying students, but they don't have to be a college student. They don't have to have gone to college. I mean, they could be a plumber, you know, and take it and learn and still become our future leaders. Any other questions? All right, Tim, Patrick Ryan's gonna give you a run back down to the hotel. Bertie and
Then, Chris?
That'll be up.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, so